Hi BookTube, it's Missy. Long time no see. I am doing pretty bad this year already on making videos, and you know, as an excuse for not making videos very often, I did say at the beginning of the year that I was going to not stress myself out on reading, that I would read when I want to and play video games when I wanted to, or what have you. So one whole week in February, the week before Valentine's Day, or like the week of Valentine's Day, I was playing World of Warcraft every single day because I was trying to collect those stinking tokens in order to buy the Love Boat, which of course you guys don't know what it is unless you play World of Warcraft. And yes, it's tragic that I wasted so much time trying to get that, but I'm a collector and I needed it. I needed it. And then last Friday, my husband turned on the TV show The Office, the American version, for the first time, and we watched the pilot together, and he thought it was okay, and then he turned it off, but I was hooked immediately. And so all last weekend, all I did was watch The Office, and I keep sneaking it in throughout the day. So I haven't been making videos because I've been watching The Office. I've come to find out that Michael Scott is my husband. Not as awkward, but very... Oh, are you talking about me? Oh, is this about me? I think that's hilarious. My favorite characters are Pam and Jim, obviously. Dwight, definitely, too. Those are my 4 favorite characters. Michael Scott, because he's just ridiculous. I mean, just all the time. All the time ridiculous. Jim and Pam are the cutest things ever, and they're super awkward, and it's just like, fall in love already. What are you guys doing? And then Dwight is... I don't know. I don't know how to explain him. He's so over the top. It's hilarious. Okay, let's get into the video that I wanted to talk about today. And that is my wrap-up for the month of February. So last month, and I'm not going to do this every month because it might get obnoxious, but last month I read 11 books. This month I read 8 books, so I am happy about that. I am, I am still continuing with the read 10 before you buy one, so I did not purchase a book this month. I didn't purchase a book with my own money this month. My mother-in-law did give me a Barnes & Noble gift certificate, or, you know, the gift card for Christmas. And so I purchased the Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, the illustrated edition. So that should be coming in the mail. But other than that, I don't have a book haul for February. You're going to see this a lot this year, unless, of course, this month I go crazy because it's my birthday. But really, you won't see very many book hauls this year because I am trying to condense the floor books. I have bookshelves. They are double stacked, yes, but the floor books gotta go. I have no room to film because I'm backed up against all of the books, and it's just inconvenient for them to be on the ground. So anyways, I read 8 this month, which means I have to read 2 more before I can buy another book. I have many that I would like to purchase, so we will see. Yeah, it is my birthday month, so I'm hoping that everything goes well. Okay, let's get on with the books. So for the first 4 books that I read at the beginning of the month, you've already seen a wrap-up for them, so I will leave that link down below. So I'm just going to go quickly through. I did finish and complete Misery by Stephen King. This was for my Stephen King 2018 read-along. We finished this in January. I finished it in February. This is the scariest book that I have read so far by Stephen King, and I've read about 40 of his books. This tops The Shining because Annie Wilkes, the main villain, is actually psychotic. And I was so fearful for Paul Sheldon, our main character, that it was very hard for me to read this book all in one sitting. I kept putting it down because I was so scared that she was going to come and like chop him up or something. That's how crazy she is. I also read Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. This is the first book in the Winnie the Pooh series. My children loved it. I thought all of the stories were very cute. There's 10 short stories in here, and the last 3 pretty much connect because Christopher Robin goes, oh, remember last week, blah, blah, blah. Not all of them connect, but the last 3 definitely did. It was like a, not connect, but like it was consecutive in storytelling. This picture right here that I will have over my Kindle, but I did read a sequel to August Barton, The Trials and Tribulations. The sequel was called The Revelations of August Barton, written by Jennifer LeBlanc. I was a beta reader. I loved the sequel. I gave it 5 stars. It was great. And then, of course, I had my free read. Not free. What do I want to say? I requested this from Entangled Teen. That's duh. I requested this from Entangled Teen. They sent it to me. I was on the book tour. I was very excited to read it. This is the kid's sister to The Night Circus. I absolutely loved this book. It was very, very good, and yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Again, I will leave the link to a longer review of all of those books down below. All right, so the last 4 books that I completed in February, the first one, which I'm super excited about, is The Song of Solomon. I don't know why I keep saying Solomon. That's not how, it's The Song of Susanna. One of these days, I won't say The Song of Solomon. All right, The Song of Susanna by Stephen King. This is the 6th book in the Dark Tower series. This was not my favorite. This was my least favorite of the entire series so far. This is all about, really, Susanna and how the quartet has been broken up into 3 groups. There's Roland and Eddie. They're doing their own thing. You know, and then we have Susanna and Mia, they're doing their own thing, and then we have Jake, Callahan, and Oy, and they're doing another thing. I don't want to go into it because that would spoil the story, but all 3 of them are working together in unison, but separately, to get to the Dark Tower and to save, like, the beam of the Dark Tower, and, yeah, the ending is definitely a cliffhanger, in my opinion. I mean, it ends where you would think it would end, but also it's like a platform for book 7, which is The Dark Tower, and it's a huge book. Like this one, I was like, oh, it's so nice and skinny. The Dark Tower is like that fat. So I'm definitely looking forward to the final book in the series. This has been a long journey through the Dark Tower, and I just love all these stories. I love all of them. That one I gave a 4 star, but I do love them all. All right, the next book I read was Landscape with Invisible Hand by M.T. Anderson. I gave this book 3 stars. I didn't really like this book. There are many reasons why. For starters, I was all excited because it's an alien invasion book, and the aliens aren't very alien-like to my standards. There are many different versions of aliens. You have the gray people, you have like reptilian kind of people. If you saw The Arrival, you have this like septipod kind of aliens. In this one, they're more like robotic aliens, and basically they come to Earth and they take over, but more not like killing all the humans off. Basically, they turned Earth into their own personal vacation spot, and they pretty much bought out Earth. Like, all the rich people were like, yeah, you know, give me technology and medicine, I will basically sell you Earth. And that's what happened. And it was like so just, I don't know. Each chapter is very short, but I just didn't like it. I wasn't interested in anything that was going on. Our main character's name is Adam Costello, which, isn't that I know there's Elvis Costello. He's a singer. I thought Adam Costello was also a famous kind of name. Correct me if I'm wrong down below. Anyways, so Adam is an artist. He's about 17, and he has to deal with this invasion of aliens, and it's really hard for him because his family lost their jobs. Both his mother and father lost their jobs to the aliens. Once they arrived, they kind of like bought out all the companies and then like stuck their own people in, and the people are more efficient than humans, and so humans are just like walking around poor, jobless, hurting for cash. It's just really a dismal and bleak book. And the very last quote in the book was very beautiful, and the writing is pretty, it's okay. I just didn't like it. I just wasn't interested in it, and that's okay. You don't have to like everything. So 3 stars. It wasn't offensive. It just wasn't my cup of tea. The next book I read was fantastic, and that was Dead Woman Walking by Sharon Bolton. I picked up a bunch of thrillers at the beginning of February, and this is the only one I finished, just because it was so different than everything I have read before. So this one has 3 different stories in it, not necessarily like made into 3 different stories. There's just like 3 continuous stories going along at the same time. So we have our main character. She is, I don't want to say her name. Well, I guess I can say her name. Her name's Jessica Lane, and she is on a hot air balloon ride with her sister for her birthday, and they witness the entire balloon witnesses a murder taking place. The murderer sees the hot air balloon and freaks out because there's witnesses, and some of those people are taking pictures of the crime that he's committing, and so he shoots the pilot of the hot air balloon, and the pilot dies. And so nobody knows how to fly a hot air balloon, so they're all scrambling to figure out who's going to be the new pilot. And while this is happening, of course, the balloon is slowly descending because they were already on course to land, like a mile or so ahead of where they're at now. And the murderer is pursuing them with the gun, and they're all freaking out because he keeps shooting towards them, and they don't know if he's trying to shoot the balloon down or if he's trying to like kill off people one at a time. Yeah, so that's the first story. Very exciting. We don't know what's going on. The second story is all about this black market organ donations. So a bunch of immigrants are coming in secretly. They're being smuggled in, so human trafficking, and a gypsy family is then taking these people and selling their organs on the black market, basically figuring out what organs are good and then killing them in order for, you know, the organ to be then transplanted immediately into the patient, and then they're getting money for it, which is totally gross and creepy. So that's going on in the background. And then we also have a third story about a nun who is in hiding. She went into the church that she is living at right now. She went in when she was 18, and she's been hiding for the last 20 years. And so we get a little bit of that as well. There is a huge plot twist in this book that caught me off guard. There was a teeny tiny section in the book that made you think, oh, but then it's so quick. Like, it's just one sentence between 2 people, and they're like, well, what happened if this happened? And then that happens later on in the book, and you're like, oh my gosh, I totally read that. I wasn't expecting it, but I kind of was. It was very, very good. The only complaint I have about this book, and the reason why I gave it 4 stars, is 1, the ending, the very, very ending of the book just didn't need to be there. I didn't really care about that backstory, and so, because it wasn't an important backstory, in my opinion. It might be important to somebody else, but I was just like, nah, it was okay. It made me teary-eyed anyway because of the the subject matter, but again, it didn't really have to be in there. It didn't help the book along at all, and it didn't change my opinion of the rest of the book. So I didn't really like the ending of the story, and there is a supernatural element to this book that also caught me off guard. And it's like a page. It's only 1 page long, and it didn't make any sense, like why it was there. I don't know. Let me know down below if you have read this book and you know exactly what I'm talking about, and maybe we can discuss it. Yeah. Overall, though, it was a really, really good thriller. And the very last book that I read in February was Good Ogre, the third and final book in the Bad Unicorn trilogy by Plate F. Clark. This is the Bad Ogre. His name is Wayne. This is Moki, and he is a fire kitten. We have the Bad Unicorn here. She's a nightmare. We have a fluff dragon, some squirrels that are part of an army. Yeah. And the Malaspire with the tornado. Basically, I loved this book so much. I loved the entire trilogy. If you like middle grade, you like fantasy and humor, I highly recommend picking up this series. I read them out loud to my children. I read all of them, all 3 in 2 months, and it's just so fun. It's so fun. And yeah, I really like the characters. They grow throughout the book. They become stronger, more independent. The friendships grow. Bullies become friends and saviors. And yeah, I just really liked it. That's all I can say about this book. All right, so those are the 8 books that I read in February. Let me know down below what you are currently reading in March and what you finished in February. If you are curious, I am currently reading these 2 books to my kids. Every night we have Gustav Gloom, the first book in this series. I think there's only 4 books. I have them all. This is by Adam Troy Castro, which is, it's such a cute book so far. And then I'm reading Charlotte's Web for the first time by E.B. White. I own this movie and I've watched it millions of times, but it's so fun to read the story. And I'm trying to mimic the characters from the movie, their voices, while reading out loud to the kids. And I'm doing okay. Anyways, those are the 2 kids' books that I'm currently in the middle of. I will be recording my March TBR hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully this video goes out tomorrow. Yeah, I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. It's almost the weekend, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye!